Yo! What up? It's popping. I don't know why everybody be trying to sound like rappers all the time. Niggas always want to sound like rappers for some reason. Hey, yo, what's good, though? You know what I mean? We here. You know what I'm saying? We in the building, literally. You know what? I bet rappers wish they never would say, they never started saying that shit. We in the building back in the 90s. Or in the house. Instagram is in the house. We are regretting the fuck out of that right now, ain't we? Ain't we? I got a special interview I'm gonna do today. Surprise guest. Some of y'all, if you a hip hop head, you gonna really know what this is. It's gonna be a treat for you. Mario Power Mario, what up? Miss G Blanco. Okay. Just shouting out a few of y'all real quick. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? The real Strizzy. The real Strizzy. Hey, I was just working out and I just heard a B-boy version of Thriller by Speak Low. I never heard this before, so let me let y'all hear this real quick. I ain't never heard this shit before. And terror takes the sound before you make it. This shit funky though. Cause this is Thriller! That shit funky as fuck. That's Thriller. That's funky. All right. Let me check and see if my man is here. Let me see if he's logged in. There you go. Hey man, I got somebody special on my interview today. I'm gonna talk to. He's a legend in the hip hop game on the dance scene. Ridiculously legendary. One of my childhood idols. I don't like the word idol, but one of those superheroes in this game that's a pillar in this community. So I'm about to add him in right now. Give people their flowers, yo, while they're here. Dialing him in. My brother.
What's up, AFFION?
Ken Swift, the original, the king. What's up, brother?
I'm good, man. Good looking out for this opportunity, man. It's needed right now. So
Absolutely, man. Well, let me just start off by saying this, man. You're probably wondering, like, why the fuck does he want to talk to me on on live? But I've been doing a couple of these joints, man. Like I spoke to Kane the other day. I spoke to Legs. I spoke to David Banner, Russell Simmons, like just different people who I admire. You know what I mean? Like you are one of those people who helped shape my mentality on culture. You know what I mean? Probably in a way that you didn't realize you were doing, but you've influenced, so many other people like that too. But you're one of the pillars when it comes to this hip hop thing. And hip hop is something that I grew up on. It's in my lifetime. It's a genre that I was born the same year as hip hop. So it's like you're one of those constant people that took this shit on your back. And again, I don't even realize you knew you were doing it, which is why I want to have this conversation with you. But you're just one of those legends, and it doesn't matter where I am in life or what status or if I become the fucking president. I don't care. If I ever see you somewhere, I'm paying homage because that's the respect that I have for you. So that's why I want to have this conversation and just to get into your journey a little bit. Tell me about you. You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, thank you for those words, man. It's very nice of you to say that, and I'm glad that there was inspiration somewhere with you and the connection to dance in your life and art and culture. So that's a wonderful thing, man. And but yeah, like yeah, I mean, it goes back to being a child. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't even a teenager yet, and I was very young, and you know, one of the things we talked about the other day, regarding artistry, it's interesting because I never thought of myself as an artist. I thought of myself as a b-boy. That
Right.
word, or even dancer. I didn't consider myself a dancer. I consider myself a b-boy. You
Right.
know, this journey goes back till I was, since I was 12 years old, and it starts with music. But before I go there, I just want to reflect on something because, see, what the thing that I was just talking about earlier was that the time that I met you, it was at Rockin' the Elements in Stockton in '06.
Yep. Yep.
First
Yep.
time I met you, and you came with Flowmaster, and I was like, well, if he's with Flowmaster, then he's solid gold. There's no question about it. Flowmaster, that's my dude right there. You know what I'm saying? You already know the connection.
Yep.
And it was so cool, man, because I brought my dudes out from New York, from Brooklyn, in South Brooklyn, and they my age, from my generation. And
Naco, Mr. Loose,
yeah,
Burn One.
yeah. We went out there, just to rep and support Moon Cricket with his film,
Yep.
in his event, Rocking the Elements.
Yep.
But the thing that was so exciting was that intro where we all got a chance to demo real quick.
Yeah.
We all kind of went out, and I didn't know what I didn't know what you were about. You know what I'm saying? I was like, everybody just fell into place great, and it was a great exchange of a lot of different dance styles, and that was beautiful, man. So I'm always going to reflect on that when I think about you and that connection. You know what I'm saying? It was that exchange of dance. It was the exchange and the moment, and to really showcase and share with people what we know how to do and who we were personally. Because dance really, it zeroes into the person that you are, the personality you have, and the spirit you have. That's what in this, you want to ultimately at some point find that within yourself. It doesn't happen in the very beginning. You know what I mean?
Yo, so going back to that Stockton event though, I remember I was nervous because Moon Cricket was like, he said, yeah, Kenny's a little hesitant because all he heard was you're from MTV, and you didn't know me. So in all fairness, I get it. Like, he's like, you're from MTV, and it felt like a watered down, like we're just trying to get some Jersey Shore type people on here to make this event pop. But you didn't know. So like you said, when I met you, the first thing I said was, Flowmaster's my brother. And you was like, you embraced me from there. You was like, no one is just gonna randomly say that name if they don't really know. You know what I mean? And then from that point on, me and your boys, we all just like kind of clicked. We were staying in the same hotel.
Yeah, it was fun.
And
Good time.
And it was dope. It was dope. And then yeah, like you said, we the first time you saw me rock just a little bit, it was in one of the little smaller ciphers before the actual event started, and you showed me love. So I appreciate that. That was like,
no doubt.
That was like, rocking in front of one of your heroes and getting that acknowledgement. So good looking out, bro.
Oh, that's guaranteed. I mean, it's salute respect. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, the other thing I notice is that you're rounded, and I really like that. You know what I'm saying? You can adapt. You know how to move. You know what I'm saying? And then you also understand rhythm. So I mean, that combination alone, anybody in this, if there's something that's unstable with those two things, you're gonna have a big problem with being a part of the community.
Absolutely. So let's go back to your childhood, man. Like, what are your what kind of child were you like? Were you artistic? Did you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, were you watching Sammy Davis Jr.? Were you watching other people that just kind of like, you were like, oh, that's some cool shit right there?
Well, it's a really good question, and I'm glad we're going in that direction because it's, it relates to what I said about terminologies and me being a preteen. I was 12 years old, and I'm from Upper West Side of Manhattan. Just for the people that don't know who I am and where I'm from New York City. You know what I'm saying? I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Manhattan, right where Harlem starts. So I'm an uptown dude, you know what I'm saying? Respect to all my peoples uptown, 98th Street and so forth. But when I was going to grade school in fourth grade, music was always in my household. My mother, she always played music like most of us, right? Our parents would,
of course,
wanted to get by. It was just the way you rode the weekends by most of the time.
Yep.
So around me, and I would see these images, and there might be some dance on TV or a performance on TV, and there was of course there was SNL, there was Don Kirshner's rock concert, there was Soul Train, there was American, and so there were programs that showcased artists and also showed people celebrating music and dancing and moving. At that age, that wasn't exciting to me. Nothing really. I mean, I saw it. It was in the household. It was around me.
Right.
So let's just start right there. Now, in fourth grade in school, they used to have something called the comic book club, and it was an after school thing. This was brand new when they started doing after school programs. It had to be 75 or 6 or whatever, 475. And after school, you know, rather than go home, you would go to this place where they give you color pencils and they give you paper and markers and stuff. And you just, and it was all about superhero characters. It was all about comic books. So you would take the comic and you pick any picture you like and you draw. So when you say the word, for me, that's drawing, and that's called art. It's like an art class, you know. So that's the connection between saying I'm an artist. Like I would always say, like, okay, that's what an artist does. He paints, he draws. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first experiences with me understanding that I like to draw. I made that connection. I like the colors. I like the way they did illustrations in comic books. To me, was fascinating. Not only the characters, but the letters. You know, so much going on, and there's a story within that. So that around that age is when, you know, at the same time I found my mom's records. See, my mom, we were in the projects first, in Douglas Projects, on Columbus Avenue on 100th Street. You know, and we were living in my mom and me and my brothers were in her mother's house, in our grandmother's house, Carmen. So, you know, when my mother finally got an apartment, we moved everything over to the new place on 96th Street in Columbus. And, you know, I don't know what motivated me. I guess it was boredom. And I went into the, you know, those old units that have, it's like this wooden whole thing that has a turntable, that it has the record player, it has a place for records, it has, you know, it's like this whole big long space to store stuff, and it had it had a record player, and I played records, and James Brown and those James Brown albums, there was something about that though when I would play those, and randomly I'm just putting I'm just like, what is this? Because I knew how to play records, because, you know, my mom played records.
So you're just exploring at this point, though.
Yeah, but there was something about that, like the horn sections, the beats, the energy. The energy was coming from so many different directions, and then you have a person like the Godfather Soul, James Brown, just shouting energy along with these musicians that are off the chain, and there was something that grabbed me. So within that, I wasn't into hip hop, anything. I wasn't into like the underground culture. I hadn't been exposed yet. That following 2 years is when my boy Doze, Devious Doze, 3J Uptown, you know what I'm saying? We connected. He was older than me. He used to be they were writing on the subway trains, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
70s, and we connected, and you know, I want to just shout out really quickly Slimmy D from Staten Island, his cousin T from the Bronx. You know, these were the brothers that gave Doze tapes. So while we had this little tiny radio with one little speaker like this big, putting these tapes in that were live, it were jams, which just you know, Flash and the Furious Five. You know what I'm saying? Furious Five was the first group. So the connection with the music, and also that, is that I'm listening to these brothers MC and sisters too, and behind it, I'm like, wait a minute, why do I know that song? And a lot of them beats they was playing, I was like, yeah, that's. So I was already like, you know, I was like, whoa. I was like, this feels good. So it was one of the first connections to really intertwine me into the full culture, you know. And from that point on, I was writing first. I started DJing second. We had a Gemini Up and Down, and we had D1s, two D1s. At first, we had a Kenwood, his father's turntable, and a Gemini Up and Down, and then we had the D1. But then, you know, he got the other turntable, and then, you know, the local kids from the blocks, we started getting conscious on how to do this. T was put onto how this is how people do what you're listening on tapes, because he was a DJ T. He was up in the BX, and from that point, it was like, okay, we just young, you know, we young and we having fun, you know. And it was like the DJ, and then it's like, okay, I want to imitate. We plugged in a mic. Let me imitate these rhymes. Let me try to rhyme like these dudes. And it was no pressure. It was having fun. You know, you know, but the connection to the actual dance is, you know, I'm a music person first. The music is the key to everything I do. Like, if without music, I would not be who I am, and there would be no creative process. There's something about rhythms and beats and vibrations that do something specific for me personally, and I think for a lot of us. But Doze did this little move on the floor, you know, and I had seen people drop to the floor, like kind of like on TV, like you see James Brown do a split.
Right.
You
Right.
know, whatever. But those did this little floor shuffle with his knees on the rug. And, you know, at that age, we were reckless. I was a wild, hyper kid, man. We were jumping rooftops, jumping from roofs into garbage. We were out of control. And the thing was, is that when I seen him do it, I did it right after him. I was like, let me bust
Right.
that. Wait. Did a little move because it was physical. The attraction
Yeah.
was like I dare you. Like, you know, when you jump from one thing to the next when you're a kid and someone said, I could do that. They do it right
I could do that too. Yeah.
It's childhood exploration and play. So when I did it, he was like, oh, snap, Kenny, you doing this already? You know, and I've told this story to many people. They know the deal. And I said, nah, I just seen you do it. He said, well, look, man, first you got to top rock, though. You got to go like this. And he did these steps, and I was looking at him. I was like, why you got to do those steps for? That don't look good. That stuff on the floor is nice. He's like, nah, you got to top rock first. So then I was like, oh, snap. That, you know, okay, now you giving me, all right, I'll do it. I didn't like it, but I was like, if that's the rules, that's what you're supposed to do. And that was the beginning of me understanding this underground expression and starting to learn some of the terminologies, really exploring the music, because I'm gonna tell you something, we couldn't find those records. When they finally released the Super Disco Breaks albums, we were really set because we didn't, you know, people didn't have their names on their records. You couldn't look over and try to see the DJ what they were spinning.
Right.
Whatever. So that helped us out a lot. So the music in combination with understanding time, DJing, we all DJed. And, you know, I started a crew called the Young City Boys crew in 1978.
Right.
With Rose and Dino, Andy, like 30 of us. And we all would DJ and do it. We just have fun. It wasn't even like, let's do it.
Everybody did everything back then.
It's just like, let's have fun. And the thing about rhythm, I've always banged on stuff too. Like when I was in junior high school, I was playing bongos and congas. And I didn't know how to read music. I didn't understand. I played drums right after that. But understanding, and I tell a lot of people in this art form and breaking, it's very important to learn that to try to get on the turntables and understand the job of the DJ. Because when you understand the job and understand time and how time works with keeping that beat steady, it makes you a better dancer because you understand the job of the DJ. That's why I tell people, you play an instrument, do you cut? You got to jump on this because this is going to really round you. You know, so that from understanding time and DJ, I was solid. From that point on, it was just creative, young exploration. No, it wasn't it was just like having fun. When we got down, it was the moment that presented itself. It was whatever. It's like we didn't say, yo, let's go over here and start this circle. We were like, snap, someone spazzing. People will go like this, and you want to go see what it is, and then you under that right there.
It was organic. It wasn't contrived. It wasn't.
Absolutely.
We want attention and we want to go bust moves over here. It was organic. It just happened.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that I like to share is that, you know, and it's in when I look at the evolution of dance on both coasts, you know, understand you have the funk style dances that come from, you know, the West Coast is amazing whole history and story. It's very similar, but there's something about the age of the b-boy. The b-boys were younger. You know, the b-boys that I've seen, they were like 13, maybe 15 max, maybe.
Right.
And it wasn't like this, I want to be a performer thing, because it was too raw. It was too radical. Like it was very radical to go on the concrete and start spazzing out. A lot of people didn't know how to ingest that. But a lot of people enjoyed it because they're like, oh, snap, yo, do you see what people would really, and you have your audience, in a sense, your circle of people that are just curious.
Right.
Then those moments, you know, when I peep my head in a circle and I seen dudes get it in, big respect to, I always mention Grego from the Executioners. You know, when I seen this dude do something crazy, it changed everything for me because I didn't even dance. I didn't have the nerve to go in that circle.
Right.
Dark park on 100th Street, plugged into the light poles, dudes, Untouchables. No, it was Shamrock Crew was DJing, DJ Sharp, and peeped my head in, and when I saw what this kid did, I couldn't even understand it. I had to walk away and figure it out. I was like,
right,
he do that, you know, and that enhanced everything that, you know, that I was a part of it. And that was like, first instinct was like, I want to do what he did, but then it's like, you can't do what he did. That, you know, that means you biting his move.
Right.
That's a no-no. You can never do that. That's something that's against the law. Like if you do that, you got a situation in the street. People took that very personal. So I had to figure out how to do it, and you walked away from it. It's not like you could rewind it on a video.
Right. Right.
You walked away from it and said, well, I can't do what he did, but I like what he did. How can I do something like that? And those are the beginning moments of exploration that are way more physical. You know, I wasn't trying to be a good dancer. I was trying to be a dope b-boy. You know what I'm saying? And 5% of the dancers on top, 95 was on the floor. So your skills was on the floor. You know, that's the tradition.
Okay, so
and the history, real quick.
Yeah.
Us freestyle was the opposite. Freestyle or rock or rocking or rock dance, a lot of terminologies people use burning. That was 95% on top and 5% on the floor. And these dances are connected to each other. Rocking and breaking are definitely connected. Breaking is considered the first dance of hip hop culture, of course, in the way that it's presented and expressed through the people that were performing, that I always salute and I listen to. But they are connected. So this exchange of 95 to 5 became 5 to 95. And that's what made breaking so incredible and interesting, because people didn't watch dance that way at that time. People watch dance at an eye level. You're looking at someone dancing, you might, oh, and then you're like, here, all of a sudden it became here, and everybody's right down, zooming in on the floor.
Right.
On the floor now. So that I just wanted to mention that because it's very important to understand that.
Dope. So, okay, with that foundation, how did your journey develop? Like from that point to developing this ill style of being, you know, your freezes and how being the swift master that you are on the floor, and then, you know, Rocksteady, B Street, the fame of it all. Like how did that journey from that point to the fame side of it, how did that go for you? Like what was the process?
You know, when we talk about the word fame, it's an interesting word because, you know, it's about street credibility and being acknowledged by your peers and people in the community. You know, so that, you know, when I was exploring writing, and I was around dope, like just to be around those was amazing. Bill Blast, the people that were connected to people in my neighborhood, I was like a toy. I knew that, you know what I'm saying? But I was around people, and if you stay around them enough, it's going to rub off on you. You know what I mean? So the writing thing is about that fame. It's about being recognized and acknowledged. Oh, I seen that, yo, and then it becomes this conversation of communities. Like, yo, just do this from here. Did you see that? And it's that internet, that vocal, you know, community.
And with the trains traveling, your work it's already traveling pre-internet.
Absolutely. And so that whole idea of what, you know, the thing about breaking is like not everybody did it. You know, it wasn't like the whole 20 b-boys jumped in. Like in those moments, it was maybe 4 max early. And those are the dudes that did it. That was what they did. It wasn't like everybody did it. So you had to have a lot of courage to actually give it a shot, because the audience was the ones you had to worry about, because they'll laugh you out the circle. Then there goes your credibility. You walk down the street, everybody's going to remember somebody laughed at you or somebody did something disrespectful. So it meant a lot for your for the person that, you know, for your integrity of yourself, you know, and your rep.
Of course.
When you got to rock it, you got to kill it. You can't go in there playing games and look sloppy, because people will straight up honest. Teenagers are honest. Preteens and teens are honest. You know, they'll tell you right up straight. There's no, and it's fun childhood stuff. But so the fame part of it is like we started showing off, because, you know, when I started doing it more, I got better. I knew that. Well, I didn't know anything, but I knew that I was attracted to this. I was like, I want to keep doing this. You know, I want to try everything. I knew that there was something there that I liked. And it was a lot being that I was hyper, and also that I was very physical. I was very cool with my body. You know, we were all using our bodies, jumping ramps, doing crazy stuff and flipping and stuff. So, you know, meeting Ty Fly, you know what I'm saying, whose cousin was Frosty Freeze. You know, these are so now I'm starting to, when I met Frosty Freeze, rest in peace, that was when it kind of, some of the first people I saw, I didn't have the nerve to talk to. And you do that. You wouldn't go up to a dude and be like, at that time, it was really macho style, you know, like you playing yourself, you look like a son or something. If you go up to somebody and try to be like, yo, what did you do? How did you do? You know, so you kind of like, we had to watch and figure it out on your own. And that's the beauty of having to figure it out on your own, is the beauty.
Right.
So with Frost, when I met Frost through Ty Fly, it was just a whole different. Everything to me at first was like super physical. Frosty was this personality, this character, and those people that know Frosty know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about him that was extremely unique and interesting, and he didn't have to have. It was more his character was number one, and what he could do was kind of number two. But anything he did was kind of dope.
Yeah.
Most of the people I saw, it was like there was not much coming from here, but the things were great. Frosty was that kind of interesting balance that whenever he danced, everybody just he just kind of created this energy where people smiled. And you know, and he was older. He's 3 years older than me. And I was like, well, this is the dude. And I was like, oh, he needs to get in Young City Boys, man. We need to get him in Young City Boys. Ty, come on, Tyrone, man, let's get him in. Ty Fly, my man from 830, he taught me how to flip. He was an acrobat, you know what I'm saying? We learned how to flip the hills in Riverside Park. So, you know, that connection right there with Frost, that's how it brings Crazy Legs. Crazy Legs was going to 82nd Street, 81st Street, around there. There were things popping off in my neighborhood. There were jams and there were people doing things and there was people breaking. And when Legs came down, he met Frosty first, and he met a bunch of other people from down there, you know. And that was around my first and second year. And when I say first and second year, I'm saying first and second year of just living my life as a young person.
Right.
And if something happened, we would do it. So it wasn't like I was training to be a b-boy.
Yeah, it wasn't like you thought about trying to accomplish anything. You just organically just was living, and it came your way.
If I had 3 moves and it popped off, I was like, I'm gonna show my 3 moves.
I'm gonna knock these 3 moves out.
So I was going to St. Gregory's, and I met a guy named Kid Terrific from the #1 Short Shop Boys, Raul. Good friend, older brother. My older brother Speedy was hanging out with that crew. They were older. They are the first kind of images of me seeing rocking. You know, like Raul, Kid Terrific, Marky D, rest in peace. A lot of them would do this dance on top, where it's almost like telling a story. Got the lasso, throwing a bow and arrow, you know, and it wasn't that intriguing to me because I was so young. I didn't understand. I was like, that's all right, but everything was about the floor. So that connected Legs and Frosty, and then us going to USA roller skating rink and connecting. And then, you know, I had my crew. My crew was a street crew. We were just like everything crew. Teenagers, same high, Joan of Arc high school, junior high school. We all from the same block. Everybody knew each other. There were a few crews. There was Salso Brothers, you know what I'm saying, 4 Aces. They had crews in the 80s, you know, but what Legs went to Frosty and was like, yo, you know, let's start this crew right here, you know, and Frosty then came to me later and he said, yo, this is what Legs thinks. And I was like, well, I don't know. What do you think? You know, and I had respect for Legs. You know what I'm saying? I had respect for Legs and Frosty. There was no question about it. And like I said, that what I was started with my friends was just this organic hangout, cool buddy thing, but we had each other's back. Rocksteady crew, that's when it became a little bit more serious on the actual craft. I was like,
right.
It was nice. I think I'm all right, you know. And I said, what do you think? And Frosty said, Kenny, if he said, I don't even like that name, Rocksteady Crew. He told me that because his crew was Rock City Crew. So he didn't like Rock. But he said, yo, Kenny, if you're down, I'm down. And I said, well, all right, I'm down. And that's the beginning. Legs president, Frosty and Ken vice presidents. And then whoever was in Young City Boys that had those skills, you know, and they became a part of the also, you know, and then all these guys like Mr. Freeze, Take One, of course, Take has to be mentioned. Rest in peace, Take One. We need to really revisit Take One's history and legacy. He's a very important person that doesn't get acknowledged a lot. Big respect to Take. Dope rider too. So, you know, that's the beginning. That Bronx and Manhattan that exchange, that was, most neighborhoods had that crew. And whatever that region was like is what you see most of them dance like, in a sense.
Yeah.
We had, when you look at the characters of Rocksteady at that time, everybody was an individual. Like there was something individual to the person. And then, you know, and then there were a lot of crews that everybody looked kind of like the same because they're all kind of like swimming in this. So when that Manhattan and Bronx thing happened, it was huge. Those, of course, you know, like everybody was unique. And through history and research, when you start looking at it, you're like, yep, I get it. And it was, you know, and it was easy because it's the young innocence. There's no real pressure. You're just being yourself. You know, so I think that when we started getting together and getting those opportunities, that's when it all exploded.
Shout out to Moon Cricket. I see him commenting in. We just talked about you, Moon. About the first time we met at the Stockton joint. He said Take One was in his film. Yep. Moon Cricket actually came by like a month ago before all this pandemic, and he showed me like the raw footage from the event, and you know, when you called me out. But and rest in peace, Frosty Freeze. I met him a few times in LA, so I know that personality that you're talking about. Like even him in regular conversation, he's just he's a dynamic guy, and like you said, when he talks, people listen and they just want to be around him, and he makes you feel away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A youthful side to him is like a childish side to him.
Yeah.
Get along with.
So, Beat Street. Wait, rewind. I saw you and Legs on Letterman the night y'all went on that joint. Mm-hmm. And me and my older brother, we was like, it was just the two of us, right? So me and him, he was my older brother, danced his ass off. And when we saw that, we would imitate the fuck out of that. But we had that shit on VHS. So fast forward to when I moved to LA, I remember Stilo mentioned the Letterman performance with the two of y'all. And I said, yo, I still got that shit on VHS. And so I ended up giving him a copy of that, and then it started circulating around B-Boys. But just one of those moments where I saw this dance being done by these two guys on David Letterman of all shows. And it just seems so out of place, but dope for me. Because, you know, Letterman is older. It's white. It ain't something that I'm going to watch. My mom might check it out every now and then. But remembering that y'all was going to be on there and we stayed up to watch that shit, it was like mind-blowing. And we wanted to do everything that y'all were doing. So how does that go from, I mean, when y'all start getting the opportunities, how does that happen for you? Like, is it an agent? Is it people just seeing y'all and saying, hey, we want to put you in this Style Wars or Beat Street? Like, how does that happen?
Well, I think, you know, and we're taking the clock back a lot of years, you know, and what I can recall right off the top is that we, you know, when we started doing appearances at the Roxy's and in the Village, within the, well, you know, you have to talk about the Henry Chalfant gallery exhibition we did, Graffiti Rock. That brought the media into understanding and taking pictures and trying to understand what we were doing and writing about it. So great to do the Village Voice magazine article. Martha Cooper shot the photos, and I think it's Sally Baines, goes back a while. This is when we started getting these opportunities, and you know, and you know, Henry, his connections. Mm-hmm. This is when we started making appearances, you know, and Michael Holman also was involved in this stuff. So it's like, this is what I can remember. Those were the you know, it was a culture clash. At that time, punk rock was huge, and we were going into these punk rock clubs, and you know, DJs would come MCs, and it's just this whole blast, and everybody's tripping out, and we're tripping out off these punk rock people because they bugged out too, and we're like, but we also we can identify in a sense. So that opportunity to get those moments to not only share with, like, we were proud to go and get busy in front of people, you know, we were like, yeah, we got this, this is fun, you know, and then wild too at the same time. We were still who we were. We can't not go away from the fact that we were teenagers, you know, but we didn't know where this was going, you know. Those moments right there, you know, introduced Bruiser Blue, Lady Blue, and when I think the big thing was with Letterman, and the connection with that is Flashdance, because there was this Bruiser, you know, I guess she was in touch with some producers or agents or people that were looking for dancers, and she invited them to the Roxy's, and they saw us. We weren't performing, we were just doing what we do. And they, we want to put that in. So that was integral. That was a real big thing. Not only the film itself being the first nationwide, you know, national film, you know, pictures, you know, this was a big deal. So the genius of that is promotion through live television and talk shows. What other way to say, hey, check out what's going to happen soon. We got something for you. And for David Letterman to take that chance I salute that. You know, a lot of people and they were like, he might not even talk to you, but you know, if he does, just go sit down. And we were like, all right. So I don't know what Legs thought. This just another thing to do. But then it's like, oh snap, we're gonna go on TV. Like, oh, and I was nervous, but music came on and everything was what it was. And Flashdance, right after that, Flashdance banging it out changed a lot of people's lives because it took that New York, that flavor of breaking and dance in New York and brought it to a larger community.
Yeah, I remember Letterman tried to talk to y'all right after, and y'all was winded. And he was like, he asked about the fat laces, and y'all, I think Legs was like, I just bought them and I put them in.
And that's the genius of it, right? That's a sincere response. I was nervous. I thought Legs was going to take the chair next to him. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he just kind of like let me glide up in the chair. And I was like, oh, man. I felt mad pressure. But I look back at that and I laugh. I had a little earring with a cross, and I was trying to be cool and stuff. But it was, thank goodness it was that early for us to be ourselves. You know how time can change people and change people's thoughts and how they handle themselves. What you had in that segment was a sincere segment of not only dance and the people that did the dance. So I always reflect on that as a really cool opportunity to get,
Yeah. So now, like, past that point, after B Street, like, hip hop goes in a few different directions. Like, I remember a point when people was looking at b-boy and like it went out of style or it was played out. You know what I mean? Like it was a moment, and then there was this resurgence. Like I discovered this whole b-boy community thriving when I moved to LA in the mid 90s. I didn't even realize it because people was in my neighborhood. I'm from North Carolina, so where I was at, people stopped dancing. They was drug dealing. They was doing all they shit. And they was trying to be, the cool guys with the chains in the club. So what is your journey during that period? And now, how do you get to where you are now, where you're, it's back to everyone knows who Ken Swift is when you walk into a jam and you're this respected icon. So what is that journey like to get to this point?
Well, it's important to share the fact that a lot of us had to go through the crack epidemic in New York City when the crack came out, and when like we were all leisurely doing our little thing,
yeah,
and our smoking and all that stuff. When the crack game exploded in New York City, and at that same time, that was when that moment where I think we had enough of this. What's next? Like media, television had kind of soaked it up a lot and tried to maybe oversaturated it, and we're just like, what's next? How do we, do what we're gonna do? I was a wild kid. I was hanging out with wild dudes on my block. I got into a lot of trouble, AFFION, serious. And, I would never lie about that because it made me who I am today. I got into a lot of trouble, man. And I'm happy to even be alive from a lot of the things that we did. We were a crew, but we were wild, too. You know what I'm saying? We had to deal with things. There was a lot of trauma in the streets. Not only that, Zulu Nation, Zulu Kings, we were wearing beads, man. There was war in the streets. Still, like small little, not wars like the early 70s, of course, so that, with that 80s thing, man, a lot of people went through it. A lot of people went through it, and we all had to figure out where we were going. We were like the first group of b-boys to become professional. We were being flown around the world. We were doing, we were spoiled, you know what I'm saying? We were happy. We're like, what? Buying gears, sneakers every day, gold chains.
Yeah.
We was up, and then that just stopped, and we were like, a lot of us, that was what we were doing. Some of us graduated high school, some of us didn't. So, that point in the 80s, that's when a lot of different, like California grasped on really well in the 80s. When we came in 83, like Legs and them came, Legs, Buck, Frosty, Hootie, I think they came. And then we went again as the Rocksteady crew, and we judged a contest or two maybe. So, and California was loving it. California was on. They were hyped. Like it was like they kind of got it a little bit later, but they was excited like we were when we first got it. So it was a similar. So that was bubbling. But in New York, a lot of us, man, we was just trying to figure out where to go. You know what I mean? A lot of people got into bad things and did bad things and had to make bad decisions. You understand? And that was a trying time. So yeah, the media was like, so if you went to a club, you wouldn't see people getting busy. Now, if you did, it's because the dude didn't care, or girls like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because that's what I do. I don't care what you think.
Right.
Like, it wasn't trendy to break. Most people stopped that. A lot of people stopped doing it in that environment because it was dress up nice. You know, a lot of stuff kind of changed. And the music kind of
Yeah.
transitioned. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't like people were playing Apache. You know, you might catch songs, you might catch one or two songs, acknowledge that conversation. But one thing I do say about the conversations, if you're a b-boy and you got this in you and you feel it, you're going to go for it no matter what anybody thinks. So in my life, breaking never stopped for me. And my whole community knew Kenny. They were like, Kenny's going to break now. If a song came on, they knew it was going to be me. Right. I never gave up on it. I always did it when the moment presented itself, because that's what I love to do. So, you know, that time was difficult, you know, and then there was trauma with our crew. Rocksteady, man, we lost a bunch of cats. You know what I'm saying? Our brothers, man, we was all frustrated. We were confused. So when a lot of these things happened in the 90s, we all came back together. Peace, Mr. Wiggles, Fable, you know what I'm saying? Everybody. Yeah. A lot of names, man. There's so many names to drop, to acknowledge.
Right.
But we got together to really figure it out. And I was, you know, the rhythm technicians was doing some cool stuff. So, you know, we all linked up, Legs, myself. So we started thinking about how can we do something, you know, and they, you know, they had these great ideas. They were doing theatrical kind of presentations at the time, which was really interesting. Which that you could find some of that online. I think they had some shows at the Criterion Center early, and it was Mr. Twister, it was Lacatron John. There's a lot of interesting people, you know, and then we were just coming out of what we were like, okay, and we all connected again, rhythm technicians and Rocksteady crew. So this was that moment. I think that was very important for our dealing with this, what was happening with our friends and dealing with what was happening in the streets. It was important for all of us to revisit who we were as not only a few of us pioneers, but we were working with younger dancers too. And we just started flowing, did this play called What Happens Now. You know what I'm saying? Then we started doing vignettes, and we put it all together, and we were like, well, hold up, man, you know, let's kind of connect it more and give it one banner, you know, so we called it Ghetto Original Productions. And that right there was, when you talk about the 90s and climbing out of the 80s and this interesting, organic, beautiful thing that happened on behalf of a lot of trauma is a blessing. We turned a lot of that negative into a positive at that time.
Right. Okay, so now you are fast forward to now, and like the last, let's say, decade, when I first moved, when I was in LA, and I would see you at jams, and I would, you know, from afar. How do you feel now? And the guy that connects us is Flowmaster. How do you feel now when you see a guy like Flowmaster, who was your student, your pupil, who embodies your style, but, you know, with homage, not on some biter, but like, he's like, it's like Kobe to Jordan, you know what I mean? How do you feel when you see him, and then you see all your influence in these different dancers around the globe in different countries? And when you see that, do you understand that you are this icon and that you're a legend? Not on no ego shit, but are you able to receive and appreciate that you have influenced so many people in a positive way?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, and it's a blessing. We don't all get those opportunities, man. For me, it's just, I'm grateful to have the look, I was inspired, man. We all come from somewhere. All those people I saw, those older brothers and sisters that I saw, I'm a leaf on that tree. So it's like responsibility to, if we're gonna, and see, I think the person that I'm is what I value most, because I think people can call me a legend, whatever you want. They can call me great at dance. There's a lot of great dancers, but I want to be really, like, my connection with people. I just, you know, I like to be myself. I don't want to never myself above anybody or none of that. It was like eye to eye. We can hang out. We good. You know, I'm me. I'm always going to be me. That was, I think, resonates to a lot of people in the world, because, like I said, I feel like I'm good. I did good in the 90s. At my game up hard, and I pressed the envelope hard for myself, and I was really, really good in the late 90s, and I could stand with conviction to say that, because I put that work in. I was in rock circles. I was going not 10 moves. I was going 2-3 hours battling with people. We were putting it in. And just to rewind a little bit, with Flo, I'm never going to call Flo my student. You have to understand, he's a student. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to go in that direction. But if there is a student that is directly the most connected, is Flo. Because what Flo did is he took his martial arts mentality and applied it to this dance with me.
In every way, to every style.
I was his teacher.
Right.
Like, but that comes from his background. So that kind of connection is kind of interesting. And I always like the fact that he fought, because, you know, it takes a lot of courage to fight, and you got to have a lot of heart, you know.
Right.
So with Flo, you know, I appreciate him giving me that respect. But once again, it's not, Flo is nice. Like, Flo gets his props. I'm never gonna, he's Flo. I'm Kenny, he's Flo. He did the math,
Right.
and then he flipped it. And that's what
Yeah.
he's to do. Because his personality is completely different than mine. I could never
Right.
be as funny as Flo. There's times I sneak one in and have a laugh, but Flo is just like, I couldn't, traveling with Flo and touring with him and being me and him as partners battling people. It was the best. It was always this comfortable, cool thing, you know. So those moments and that whole experience with us, you know, we helped each other out. So it's like, for them to give me props, I appreciate it. People around the world, I understand it. I'm considered a pioneer. I'm from a second generation of dancers from New York City, so I get it and I acknowledge it, you know.
Right.
But anymore, and you know, as long as I continue to always, you know, acknowledge the people that came before me, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what, you know, I can't take any credit for anything. There were people that I saw that inspired me. There were music that inspired me.
Right.
Artists, those geniuses, and that's where I come from.
Well, salute to Flo. He's commenting as we're talking, so he hears talking about him. Love you, Flo. You my brother, man. I'm gonna say this, man. You said you did good in the '90s. I said you did great. This, like I said, this conversation was about giving you your flowers. And if there's ever an official hip hop Hall of Fame on the b-boy side, the dance side, you know, the artists that's not just rappers or musicians, you know what I mean? If there's ever a Hall of Fame, to me, you're one of those people that deserve that. You deserve to tell your story, to get that award, and to be honored for all that you've done for the community, man. And again, I was watching you when I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. I didn't know I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I was just a kid. Me and my brother, we just wanted we wanted to get some girls. So
There you go.
you know what I mean? We saw these dances happening, and we migrated toward you guys. But you specifically, man, like, your character, your style is just it's one of a kind. And you know, salute you, man. You are an icon to me.
Appreciate that, AFFION, for real. It's nice of you to say that, man.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but you know, Instagram will shut us down.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yo, I
Yeah.
really appreciate you taking the time, man. I'm gonna
You consider me, AFFION. That's what's up, man. Thank you, bro. And to everybody out there, peace and love and respect. Stay safe. We got this. Take care of
yeah,
your insides, you and your body and your mind. That's where it's all at.
salute.
Smile.
Big yo,
Smile.
Kenny, man. Salute to you. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Salute to you,
All
AFFION.
right, my
Peace,
man.
my brother.
Peace. That's my guy Ken Swift, man. It's crazy how as I'm talking to these people, and I have a few more in store. I'm gonna talk to a lot of different people, but I noticed some of y'all get on board and y'all commenting and y'all trying to be funny and shit, and y'all trying to get me to see your comment and make a joke and all that. But just understand, like, there's time for the jokes. There's gonna be time for that, and that maybe a couple hours from now, I'll be on here doing jokes. But when I'm talking to these guys, it's a different. I'm in a different zone. I'm in another world. So I'm not seeing your comments. I'm not seeing your jokes. I ain't trying to be, you know, standoffish with it. It's a different level. Like, I'm talking to people I really respect, and I'm talking to people that changed and shift the culture. And without these people, I wouldn't even be the comedian that I am today. My comedy is influenced by hip hop because I am hip hop. So for those of y'all that don't know, I am this. I'm actually in this painting. That's me right there on the far right there with the white beater on right there. You see where my hand is at? Yeah, the nigga with the Kango hat.